Good morning, folks. Welcome to Ontario on an absolutely beautiful Saturday morning. It's early April, most of the snow is gone, the birds are back, the sun is shining, and there's blue skies and just a hint of a breeze. It couldn't be much nicer. Today, folks, oh yes, and I've got a cup of coffee on the go. Today, folks, we're going to put the blade guides back in place. Now, before I do that, a couple of videos back, I did a lot of work on the mill. Actually, it was last fall. Did some work on the bearings, repositioned the shafts. So I want to make sure that this blade is parallel to the bed of the mill. So I'm going to put tension on the blade, going to pull it up, then we'll do some measurements and probably have to make some adjustments. I've been asked before, how do I know how much tension I'm putting on the blade? Really, it's just an experience and a feel thing. I know that these arms should be pretty well flush when the weather's warm. In the wintertime, when I first start the mill up and it's really cold, sometimes they stick out a little bit because these tires, they're pretty hard. These belts don't give very much then. And when all else fails, I do this. Sounds like a B flat to me. Anywhere from a B flat to a C is about perfect. And I'm going to measure from the bottom of the blade actually to the bed. Now I know that without the blade guides on, I should be at about 12¼ inches, because when I put the blade guide down, my goal is to deflect that 1/4 inch down. Let's move that coffee cup just a little bit under 12¼ just a hair. I'm probably a 1/16 out on this side, so I'm going to raise this side up. That's so nice to hear them and see them. Welcome back, guys. When I measure to make sure I'm getting a true measurement between where I'm going to cut and the bed, I actually measure with a tooth that's set down. We're about 12, 4/16 and a 32nd. That's perfect. Exactly the same from side to side. I know it's not critical, it's within a 32nd of an inch. Because when we put the blade guides down, that's when it's really critical, the measurement. But I like to do things well. All right, the next step, I'm going to take the tension back off this blade so I can slide the blade guides in. Let's slide these blade guides in. You'll notice that there is a lot of anti-seize compound on there. I also took all the fasteners and all the adjusting points, and I put anti-seize compound on the threads once again, so someday if I have to take them back apart, I can. All right, the next step, let's put the tension back on the blades, and then we're going to position how far in and out they are and how much down pressure they put on. I can hear our neighbor's rooster crowing. It's so good to live in a country, and as I look out right now, I can see a turkey vulture. And you know what? That's relatively new for around here. When I was a young lad, I'd never even seen one. And it was probably 20, 25 years ago that I saw the first one. Actually, there's two sitting. I think it's going to land on our neighbor's barn roof. There's one sitting there. Anyhow, now that we've got the tension on the blade, the next step is we're going to set the position of this back flange on the blade guide relative to the back side of the blade. And there should be about 1/8 inch or just under 1/8 inch gap. And that's pretty close. There we go, perfect. I was just afforded yet another rich learning opportunity. My wife just came out and told me that I need to bring in a rag with some Varsol on it because I got black, in her words, gasket goo on the kitchen floor. I just went in and cleaned out the ashes out of the wood stove. I was waiting for the coals to die down. I took my boots off, so how I managed to do it, I don't know. But that doesn't matter. What matters is it's almost lunchtime and I'm going to have to go clean that up. Okay, so we've positioned the rollers. Now we're going to set the down pressure. We're going to set it so it takes it down that 1/4 inch, and we're at 12¼ We'll lower it to 12. And we're about a 30-second over. That's perfect. Well, I'm going to close things up. Well, first of all, I have to do a little work to reconnect our blade lube line here. And then I'm going to change a little plumbing. Going to change out the fuel tank. Then we'll reposition, or we'll put some tension back on the blade. I'm going to take tension off now. And we'll start up old Betsy and we'll see how she runs. I'll slide it back in here. And there we go. Yeah, I think it's going to work perfect. There is one other adjustment I actually almost forgot to do. And that's the angle of the blade this way compared to the angle of the bed. So I'm going to go grab another tool. We'll come back out and we'll adjust that, or check it. Hopefully it's still in alignment. Years ago when I built the sawmill, this is what I used to align everything. It's an inclinometer, a magnetic protractor. It's been in my toolbox for a long time. So I'll set it on here, we'll read the angle, and we'll make sure that this is parallel. So we're just under 1 degree tilt down at the rear. And now I'll find a tooth here. It's facing down. We'll put the blade up here. Last fall when I did the work on the shafts and the bearings, I serviced both the engines, changed the oil, cleaned the plugs, changed the air filters. And some mouse decided, I think, to make a home. Hopefully it didn't eat this one, but it decided that that was some great construction material to use. Good thing I had a spare pre-filter like this in the shop. Well, the engines are ready to go. Just got to hook up this fuel filter, or this fuel tank, and then let's start Betsy up and see what it sounds like. Oh, folks, that is music to my ears. It is so good to hear old Betsy running again. I sure have enjoyed doing these modifications and these repairs. Folks, I want to show you one more thing before we stop here. Have you ever built something and you do one little thing to it and it's just kind of fun? Well, that's what this is. When I first built the mill, this was the wrench I built to put tension on the blade. It has a 3/4 drive proto socket with my name etched in it that I bought in 1979. I had that socket. I bought that socket and a Johnson bar from a friend of mine named Dan. Now it sure is worn out. It did a lot of work over the years. Some of it on an impact gun, but it works well for tensioning the blade. Now you've seen me do it with a ratchet because it's much faster, but that's where it goes. And that's the little tab that holds it in place. Folks, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And you know what I hope more, folks? I hope you and your family have a blessed Easter. Thanks, folks. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.